The clock on the grease-stained wall struck exactly 2 a.m., the ticking of the second hand echoing chillingly in the deserted auto repair garage on the edge of the cold town of Iron Creek, where the only light remaining was under the chassis of a massive pickup truck perched precariously on the jack. Beneath that ton of steel was not a burly mechanic, but Sophie, a girl of only 7 years old, with tiny hands trembling as she tried to turn a rusted bolt with all the strength left in her gaunt body. Her face was smeared with pitch-black motor oil, mixing with tears that hadn't yet dried to form zigzagging trails on her cheeks. Yet her eyes shone with a heartbreaking resilience as she bit her lip to keep from crying out, fearing she would disturb the neighborhood's sleep. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet shook violently. The deep, guttural growl of dozens of V-twin engines tore through the silent night, and blinding headlights swept across the garage door like the eyes of demons signaling an approaching storm. A convoy of jet-black motorcycles bearing the Bearing Fang Viper emblem pulled up abruptly right in front, led by a giant man over 6 feet tall with a face covered in scars, stepping off his bike with a murderous look as he marched straight toward where the girl was hiding, his boots striking the concrete floor like the rhythm of a death knell. Sophie froze, the wrench slipping from her hand and hitting the floor with a piercing clang. She shrank back as that giant black shadow engulfed her tiny frame, and in that suffocating moment, she thought her life had come to an end before these dangerous uninvited guests. If you want to know what really happens when the most brutal men face the smallest soul, hit subscribe right now, because this story will change how you see things forever. Sophie shouldn't be here at this hour. She should be curled up in a warm blanket, dreaming of fields of flowers. But the brutal reality of life stole her childhood 3 months ago, when her father, a talented mechanic named Jack, collapsed right at this very lift due to terminal bone cancer. For 2 weeks now, ever since her dad was rushed to the emergency room and Uncle Pete, the only manager left, fell asleep from exhaustion, Sophie has been sneaking out through her bedroom window, pedaling her rickety bicycle through the dark to the shop, trying to finish pending orders because she knows that if the cars aren't delivered on time, customers will cancel, and they won't have the money to pay her dad's hospital bills. Her tiny hands, once used to holding only crayons, are now calloused, full of scratches and blisters from exposure to harsh cleaning chemicals. Yet she dares not complain of pain, even hiding those hands in her pockets whenever she visits her dad for fear of worrying him. Every time she turns a screw, she whispers a prayer for her dad to live one more day. The physical pain in her aching little shoulders is nothing compared to the terrifying fear of becoming an orphan. Danger still hangs over the father and daughter like a sharp blade. Piles of overdue notices from the bank in the office, threats to foreclose on the workshop if the mortgage isn't paid by the end of this month, and most importantly, the absence of a male pillar to protect her from the wicked people lurking to swallow up this small garage. Sophie is trying to patch up her crumbling world with the desperate efforts of a 7-year-old child. A silent sacrifice that the entire town of Iron Creek knew nothing about until this fateful night. Before the giant could even speak, a flashy red sports car suddenly sped up, screeching to a halt right in front of the garage door, and out stepped Brad, a notoriously arrogant tycoon in the area, the owner of the pickup truck Sophie was fixing. Reeking of alcohol, he stormed into the shop like a mad hurricane, completely ignoring the presence of the strangers outside, focusing only on his car still sitting on the lift. Seeing Sophie standing there covered in grease, instead of asking what was wrong, he roared in anger, rushing forward to grab the collar of the girl's oversized coveralls and lifting her off the ground like a rag doll, spewing the most venomous and cruel words a child could ever hear. He shouted about why his car wasn't finished, that he didn't pay for a snot-nosed brat to destroy his property, and that he would sue her and her father, taking everything from this wretched shop to the dilapidated house she lived in. Sophie dangled in mid-air, her small legs kicking helplessly, tears streaming down her face in fear and humiliation. She tried to explain in a choked, broken voice, but received only a thunderous slap that sent her crashing onto the cold floor. The entire space seemed to stop. A deadly silence fell as Brad smirked, about to raise his foot to kick the toolbox, Sophie's father's keepsake, to vent his anger, completely ignoring the extreme pain of a child cowering at his feet. He didn't realize that his cruel act had triggered a silent but terrifying rage from the dark figures standing looming behind him, men whom even the police had to treat with caution. A cold, murderous aura began to spread, signaling a brutal punishment about to befall the arrogant man who dared to bully a little angel in the dead of night. The leader, nicknamed Titan, stepped out of the shadows, his hand like a vice grip landing lightly on Brad's shoulder, but its crushing weight made the tycoon buckle immediately, his face turning from flushed red to deathly pale as he realized he was surrounded by the Black Vipers, the most notorious motorcycle gang in the state. There was no loud screaming, no bloody violence, only a suffocatingly quiet intimidation as Titan leaned down, bringing his face close to Brad's ear and whispering in a deep voice like rolling thunder that if he didn't want to vanish from the map of this town within 5 minutes, he had best leave behind 10 times the repair fee and get lost immediately. Brad trembled, emptied his wallet onto the floor, then scrambled on all fours to his car, leaving behind both his arrogance and dignity. Tires screeching in panic as he fled the demon's den. When the villain was gone, Titan turned back to look at Sophie, who was still sitting trembling, hugging her knees, and exactly at that moment that seemed most terrifying, the wall separating monster and angel suddenly collapsed completely. The fearsome giant slowly knelt on one knee, removed the skull bandana from his neck, and gently wiped away the grease and tears on the girl's face with the tenderness of a father. It turned out that Jack, Sophie's dad, was the only mechanic 10 years ago who dared to open his shop to fix Titan's bike in the middle of a storm when he was being chased by police and shunned by the world, a debt of gratitude that these outlaws valued more than life itself. Titan signaled, and immediately, 20 burly, heavily tattooed men rolled up their sleeves. Some grabbed wrenches, some grabbed welders. They didn't destroy. They started to work. The tiny garage instantly transformed into the world's most professional assembly line, where street beasts used their superior mechanical skills to finish the job for a 7-year-old girl. Sophie stared in bewilderment as these scary men handled every screw with care, treating her like a little princess in a kingdom of oil and steel. The emotional release made her burst into sobs, but this time they were tears of utter relief and happiness. As dawn just broke, the Harper and Daughter repair shop had completely transformed. Not only was the pickup truck fixed perfectly, but all the machinery in the shop had been serviced. The floors were scrubbed spotless, and on the desk lay a thick stack of cash enough to pay all the hospital bills and bank debts. But the most miraculous thing wasn't the material wealth, but the moment Titan lifted Sophie onto his shoulders, letting her sit at the highest vantage point to observe the fruits of the whole night's labor, while another member connected a video call to her dad, Jack, at the hospital. Through the phone screen, the gaunt man wept, seeing his daughter surrounded by old brothers, people he thought had forgotten him long ago, now appearing exactly when his family was most desperate. News of the Black Vipers gang protecting and running the repair shop for the Harper family spread quickly throughout Iron Creek, causing everyone's attitude to change 180 degrees, from indifference and avoidance to respect and helping hands. Neighbors started bringing food, old customers returned to book repairs, and no one dared to bully or squeeze prices at the shop anymore, because they knew behind little Sophie was an entire legion of steel ready to protect her. 3 months later, Jack was discharged, his walk still limping, but his smile brighter than ever. He hugged Sophie tight and shook Titan's hand under the freshly painted sign, marking the rebirth of a family and the healing of a community. Titan gave Sophie a tiny leather jacket, custom-made for her, with "Little Viper" on the back, a symbol recognizing her as an honorary member of this big family. A small gesture, but etched in her mind forever, that kindness sometimes comes in the most rugged forms. The story of the little mechanic and the giant bikers in Iron Creek is a powerful testament to a simple but often forgotten truth. Never judge a book by its cover, and never judge a person's character by their appearance or their past. Kindness does not belong by default to those in expensive suits. It exists most brilliantly in the hearts of those who know how to cherish the word gratitude. True family isn't necessarily about sharing the same blood, but about those ready to stand and shield you from the wind and rain when the whole world turns its back. Those who turn grease-stained hands into wings that lift a child's dreams. In a life full of judgment and prejudice, compassion is the only common language that can break down every barrier, connecting stranger souls together and creating miracles that seem to exist only in fairy tales. If your heart also fluttered at the image of gentle giants bowing before a little angel, and you believe that kindness is always present in the most unexpected places, please share this story to spread warmth to those facing difficulties out there. Leave a comment, "Respect," if you agree that respect doesn't come from status, but from how we treat each other in times of trouble. And don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Stories 365 to join us in lighting candles of hope every day.